And today on our Dear Claire series, I'll be talking about a homeowners association. What is it? What does it do? What is it all about? So an HOA is an organization that is created to maintain a sort of clear and concise brand, let's say, of a subdivision or a condominium. So you can have a homeowners association just on a regular street that you might not even know in Portland with a bunch of houses, or you could have it in a freestanding building that has multiple units in it, or you can have it just with townhouses. So say you have two townhouses side by side and there's only two townhouses, you can have a homeowners association there as well. So they can be as small as 2 different owners, or I've seen them as big as 1,000 owners. So it really can vary greatly in size and scope. And then, of course, because you have this variation in size and scope, you can have a huge variety in how it's managed and how actively it's managed and all that fun stuff. So specifically, any homeowners association, even with just 2 properties, so even if it's you and your neighbor in the townhouses that are side by side and attached, technically you have a board of directors. It probably happens to be just the 2 of you, or you can talk about a condominium association where they have formalized every board member and what their role is. So typically a board with a big condominium association is going to have a president, a treasurer, sometimes a secretary, someone to take meeting notes, and oftentimes they're going to have a very codified schedule of we meet every month and every first Tuesday of every month. That's how really well run associations go. But again, it could just be you and your neighbor, and you might meet once a year and talk about your rules and regulations and what you like and don't like about living with each other or living next to each other. Sometimes in the situation of a big condominium association, they will actually hire an outside third party to help them manage everything, because as you can imagine, a subdivision that just has a homeowners association that monitors the subdivision for following the rules is very different than a condominium homeowners association that has to collect dues from everyone, pay the water bill, pay the sewer bill. That's going to be a next level as far as homeowners associations go, and so typically it's much more of a lift of work, gathering liens, making sure everyone's paying their dues, getting a hold of people that aren't, finding out what's going on. It's just a lot more work. So you can hire, and sometimes homeowners associations do hire third parties to take care of all of those details. Once you buy a property, if it's in a homeowners association, you are now a member of that homeowners association. Whether you ever show up to a meeting or not, doesn't matter, you're still a member. And as a member, you get to vote. Now, typically, let's say Laurelhurst, for example, does have a homeowners association, and typically, and it rarely meets, that association rarely meets, but every owner of any property in that subdivision has voting rights. So typically, like in a subdivision that has houses everywhere, you're going to just have one property owner gets one vote. It's very simple. In situations where you have a big condominium complex where, say, one person is paying significantly more in homeowners association dues because it's typically based on the square footage, that person can have more votes than the person that has less square footage in the same condominium association. This is important for you to know, because if you're buying into an HOA, you should know how much of a vote you get in the board and what that means. And I can go into that more if you have questions about it. This stuff can be complicated. Let's see, what does a board do? That's also another question. So what does a board do? A board enforces the rules and regulations that the homeowners association has agreed to. So some of the rules that you're going to see in a homeowners association can be pretty dramatic. They can, even in with a bunch of houses, like a subdivision like Laurelhurst, they can enforce whether or not you have mowed your lawn. They can tell you what color you can paint your house. They can tell you how many cars you can park in your driveway and how many cars you can park on the street in front of your house. They can, typically in a condominium association where there's a big building where everyone's got access to the front door, they can tell you what kind of pets you can have and what kind of pets you can't have. But I've even seen that in homeowners associations around Portland with single family houses. I've seen them say, hey, you can't have any chickens or goats or any domesticated animals besides a cat and a dog. So I point this out to you because it's super important. If you think you're not in a homeowners association, you better make sure you check the title report and see, because sometimes there are homeowners associations that you might not know about that do have regulations about what you can and can't do with your property. Let me make sure oh yeah, there's another one too. They cannot discriminate based on all of the protected classes, but in some situations you do have a 55 and older community, and that specifically means you cannot have people younger than that living in the property for any length of time. So there's some big rules that you definitely want to know about if you're buying into an HOA. What kind of enforcement does the HOA have at their disposal? So the biggest thing is they can fine you and they can lien your property if you don't do what they say. So say I park 5 cars in my driveway and my neighbors complain, the homeowners association, if I don't fall in line, can lien my property, and they can eventually foreclose on my property if they've accumulated enough liens. So they do actually have a decent amount of power to enforce those rules. And why is this important? Because as of 2017, in the entire U.S., about 1 in 5 properties were subject to a homeowners association. So that's a lot of you. As always, I'm here to answer any questions you might have, and feel free to reach out with any additional questions you'd like me to address here, and comment those below. And of course, remember to subscribe to our Paris Group Realty LLC YouTube channel. I'd love to hear your comments and questions on that as well. Take care. Talk to you soon.